Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel Learning in Economics. Today I discuss about what is the change in quantity supplied and change in supply and distinction between movement along the supply curve and shift of the supply curve and determinants of price elasticity of supply. अगर आप मेरे चैनल पे न्यू मेंबर है तो आप मेरे वीडियो को लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। आज के वीडियो हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। What is change in quantity supplied and change in supply? Change in quantity supply or what is change in supply? Change in quantity supply is also known as movement along the supply curve and change in supply also known as shift of the supply curve. And what is change in quantity supplied? A change in quantity supplied refers to a movement along a given supply curve because of price change. Because of price change, only price change will also change in the quantity supplied. And change in quantity supply is also known as movement along the supply curve. A change in quantity supply means movement along the given supply curve. Movement along the given supply curve because of price change. And what is change in supply? Change in supply means shift of the supply curve due to change in the other vector. It is only changed by the price change and it is only changed by the factors. In quantity supplied, price affects the quantity supplied and supply affects the price in change in supply. Change in quantity supply also affects the price change and change in supply also affects the factors or supply. And what are the distinction between movement along the supply curve and shift of the supply curve? Movement along the supply curve is also known as change in quantity supplied and shift of the supply curve is also known as change in supply curve. And what is movement along the supply curve? Movement means one commodity to another commodity and movement among the supply curve is also known as change in quantity supplied. Movement along the supply curve is refers to change in quantity supplied due to change in the commodity's own price. It is only change by the price and it is only change by the factors. In shift in supply curve implies change in the supply of a commodity at a given price. Price of the commodity affects its quantity supplied. Only the price of the commodity affects the movement along the supply curve. And in shift of the supply curve or change in supply also only supply affects the price. And what is movement along the supply curve? Third point is a movement from left to the right along with the supply. And rightward shift of the supply curve implies an increase in supply. In movement is also a movement also from expansion or contraction, and in shift in supply means increase or decrease in supply. And what are the determinants of price elasticity of supply? Time period. Elasticity of supply is also affected by the time period involved. The longer the period, the greater will be the elasticity of supply, and the shorter the period, the shorter will be the elasticity of supply. It also based on time period. And possibility of shifting from production means shift from one product to another, like clothing to raw materials. Because if the producers can shift easily from one production to another, the supply would be more price elastic. And inelastic supply is or inelastic commodity is necessary goods, and elastic goods is necessary goods. And what are the nature of the commodity product? Nature of the commodity is the durable goods like for example of durable goods like vegetables, fish, eggs, etc. आज के लिए इतना ही काफ़ी है। अगर आपको मेरी वीडियो अच्छे लगे तो लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब ज़रूर करना।